Good morning, students. So today I am going to explain about the process of fertilization. In previous video, we have discussed different parts of the male reproductive system and the female reproductive system, and what are the function of different organs or the different parts. So how to explain the process of fertilization? Fertilization is fusion of male and the female gamete. Male gamete, so that is one cell which is having haploid nucleus. Female gamete is also one cell which is having haploid nucleus. In the process of fertilization, what is happening? The male gamete can fuse with the female gamete, and ultimately one single cell is produced, which is called zygote. Zygote is having diploid chromosome number. Male and the female gamete, they are having haploid chromosome number. What is haploid? Haploid is half chromosome number. For example, in the male and the female gamete, 23 chromosomes are there. Whereas in the diploid cell of the human beings, there are 46 chromosomes are there. So in the zygote, you can find out when 23 chromosomes of the male gamete will fuse with the 23 chromosome of the female gamete. Then in the zygote, 46 chromosomes are there, and it is a diploid cell. Okay? But what is the place where actually the fertilization is taking place? The fertilization is not taking place in all parts of the oviducts, because the oviduct, so that is a long tube, or it is not taking place in the uterus or in the cervix. So where actually the fertilization is taking place? So that is taking place in ampulla isthmus junction. If you remember, ovary is connected to oviduct. The tip portion of the oviduct, so that is funnel shape, and this is called infundibulum. Infundibulum is having finger-like projections which are called fimbriae. Fimbriae will catch the ovum which is released from the ovary. Then gradually the ovum will start moving towards the fallopian tube, where the ovum will reach to this place which is called ampulla, and the place behind the ampulla is called isthmus. If in this position the male and the female gamete both are present, then there is a possibility of fertilization. Otherwise, there is no possibility. So there is no guarantee that every month the female will be pregnant. So that is the answer for this question. Then how the sperm is moving and arriving to ampulla isthmus junction? You know that sperm is motile. I had explained you sperm is having 4 parts: head, neck, middle piece and tail. So the tail is a long tail. And with the help of the tail, sperm is moving towards the female genital tract. So the energy, who is providing energy? Because there are plenty of mitochondria in the middle piece of the sperm. And these mitochondria, they are producing energy. With the help of the energy and the tail, now the sperm, so that is entering into the female genital tract by the process which is called insemination. Insemination means the release of semen by male reproductive system. And you know the semen, that is an alkaline fluid. In semen, sperms float. So this alkaline fluid, that is producing energy to the sperm also, and also it is activating sperm to move and enter into female genital tract. So you can find out one single ejaculation. One time when the sperm is coming out of the reproductive system, then in the fluid you can find out there are 300 million sperms are there. So many number of sperms, they are present in the fluid, and they start moving towards the vagina and the cervix. Okay? But you know that the medium in the vagina or in the cervix, so that is the acidic medium, and the fluid of the semen, that is alkaline. So this alkaline fluid that neutralizes the acidity of the female genital tract, so that the sperms will start moving towards the oviduct. Because you know that the inner layer of the vagina, it is having epithelium, and the epithelium, it is having leukocytes. These leukocytes, they can destroy millions of sperms. So although in one single ejaculation 300 million sperms are present, but all are not entering into the oviduct. Hardly you can find out 1000 sperms, they are entering into the oviduct, and most of the sperms, while traveling towards oviduct, they are destroyed. So sperm swing 1.5 to 3 mm per minute 1 single minute you can find out how much distance is covered by the sperm. So that is 1.5 to 3 mm. Okay. Now how the ovum is arriving? Because ovary is releasing ovum, but actually now we cannot say it as ovum. Now it is called secondary oocyte. Because inside the cell you can find out there is one small polar body is there and the secondary oocyte is there. Because polar body is not having any role, so now the ovum is having secondary oocyte. So when ovary is releasing ovum, the fimbriae is able to catch the ovum and the ovum is entering into oviduct. In the inner lining of oviduct, ciliated epithelium are there. So cilia is between, because the cilia, these are all long projections which are arising from the epithelium, and by the beating of cilia, now you can find out the ovum, so that is moving towards the oviduct. Okay. So if in the ampulla and the isthmus junction they are present, then there is a possibility of fertilization. Then the release of the female genital tract. Female genital tract is releasing many secretions and that help to remove the. So how the ovum or the secondary oocyte that is moving in the oviduct or in the fallopian tube. The secretion of female genital tract help to remove the deposition on acrosome. This process is called capacitation. And the fluid of seminal plasma provides nourishment to sperm and activates. Okay. So when the sperm is entering into female genital tract, then many different enzymes they are released from the female genital tract. And these enzymes they are able to remove the deposition which is there on acrosome. Because acrosome, so that is a cap-like structure which is present above the haploid nucleus in sperm. And because the acrosome it is having hydrolytic enzymes, so it is able to break the tip of the head so that the sperm will enter into the ovum. Various chemical compounds are released by acrosome. Sperm plasma membrane fused with the secondary oocyte plasma membrane. Lysis of the secondary oocyte plasma membrane so that the sperm enters the oocyte. So when the sperm and the egg they come in contact with each other, then the acrosome which is broken, it can release many hydrolytic enzymes. And if you remember, I had explained here, if this is egg or ovum, then surrounding the ovum you can find out there is another layer which is called zona pellucida. Zona pellucida, so that is a hard and a thick layer which is covering the plasma membrane of the ovum. When the sperm comes in contact with the plasma membrane of the ovum, then by the release of the hydrolytic enzymes from acrosome, because the tip will be broken, and you can find out this part, zona pellucida and the plasma membrane both will break. So sperm head is having haploid nucleus. This is the ovum which is also having the haploid nucleus, and the barrier which is present in between the sperm and the egg, so that is plasma membrane and zona pellucida. Now both these layers they are broken, and also you know that when the sperm it comes in contact with the ovum, then it can prevent polyspermy. Polyspermy means attachment of many sperms to the ovum, because ovum is one in number, it is big in size in comparison to sperm, but millions of the sperms they are approaching towards the ovum. But the first sperm which fuse with the ovum, then after that you can find out there are some chemical changes taking place in the zona pellucida. It is becoming thick and strong, and it can prevent further addition of the sperm. So it is preventing polyspermy. Poly means many, spermy means sperm. It is preventing the attachment of many sperms to the ovum. So ultimately you can find out this haploid nucleus which is there in the head. So that will enter inside the ovum. Ovum is also having a haploid nucleus, and the sperm head is also having a haploid nucleus. Now inside the cytoplasm of the ovum you can find out both the male and the female gamete haploid nucleus they are present, so that they can fuse together. But before the fusion, because I told you this is actually not complete ovum. Now this is called secondary oocyte. Why? Because in the secondary oocyte you can find out the second meiotic division is not complete. So after the entry of the male nucleus, the second meiotic division in the ovum, so that is complete, so that one small secondary polar body is produced and the ovum is produced. Second polar body is having no role, it can degenerate, and the sperm nucleus will fuse with the ovum nucleus to make a single cell, which is called zygote. So this is the way how the fertilization process, so that is taking place. So in summary, once again, I am going to explain the process of fertilization. You see the diagram which is drawn here. This is plasma membrane of secondary oocyte or the ovum. Surrounding the plasma membrane, there is another layer which is called zona pellucida. These are all the cortical granules which are present below the plasma membrane. And inside in the cytoplasm, you can find out the ovum or the secondary oocyte which is having haploid nucleus, so that is present. When sperm comes in contact with the ovum, first it is coming in contact with the outermost layer which is called zona pellucida. At the tip of the sperm, acrosome is present and behind the haploid nucleus is present. Acrosome is having hydrolytic enzymes, so the deposition on the acrosome that will break by the fluid which is secreted by female genital tract. Now here you see the tip of the acrosome is broken and hydrolytic enzymes they are released. Then the next stage you can find out the haploid nucleus which is there in the head. When there is no barrier, now the layer of the zona pellucida, that is also broken, and the layer of the plasma membrane of the ovum, so that is also broken. Then the haploid nucleus will enter inside the cytoplasm of the ovum. Now here you see the secondary oocyte, it is having a haploid nucleus and the sperm is also having a haploid nucleus. When this haploid nucleus that is entering inside the cytoplasm, then the second mitotic division, second meiosis, because meiosis 1 is already complete before the release of the ovum. And when the second meiosis will be completed, so that is after the entry of the haploid sperm of the male gamete. When the second meiosis that is completed, then two cells are produced. One is second polar body and the other is the ovum. So actually this is the ovum to which the sperm haploid nucleus, so that is combined. Second polar body is not having any role, so it can degenerate. And now the haploid nucleus of the male gamete will combine with the haploid nucleus of the female gamete, so that one single cell is produced which is called zygote. So this is the way how the fertilization process that takes place. Now how the sex of the baby is determined. You know that after the process of the fertilization, in female pregnancy starts and the fetus or the embryo gets implanted to the wall of the uterus. So how to determine the sex of the baby? In human cell, you can find out there are 46 chromosomes are there, and chromosomes they are always in pair. So how many pairs are there? 23 pairs. And out of 23 pairs of chromosomes, 22 pairs they are called autosome. So autosomes are responsible for all the body characters, and one pair, so that is called sex chromosome. Sex chromosome is responsible for determining the sex of the baby. In case of the male, the sex chromosomes, there are two types of the sex chromosome. One is called X chromosome, another is called Y chromosome. And in case of the female, the sex chromosome is the similar kind. You can find out there are two X chromosomes. So in the process of gametogenesis, male can produce two different types of gametes. 50% of the gametes they are having X chromosome, and another 50% of the gametes they are having Y chromosomes. But in case of the female, because female are having double X, so all female gametes they are having X chromosome. Now as I told you, fertilization that is a chance process. Which kind of the male gamete will fuse with the female gamete, so that is a chance. Now here you see, male can produce two different types of the gametes. One gamete is having X chromosome, another gamete is having Y chromosome. And female can produce all the gametes which are having X chromosome. If the gamete which is having X chromosome in male, that combines with the female gamete which is having X chromosome, then the baby will be female. XY, and now the baby, so that is a male. So this is the way how the sex of the baby that is determined in human beings. So after fertilization, one single cell is produced, which is called zygote. Now this zygote will divide by mitosis, and ultimately it can change into embryo. So the mitotic division, which is taking place in the zygote, that is called cleavage. So that ultimately you can find out multicellular structure which is produced, that is called blastocyst. After 34 hours of fertilization, the zygote which is having single cell, so it starts dividing only after 24 hours of fertilization. And one cell is dividing by mitosis to produce two cells. Then these two cells further they are dividing by the next mitotic division, and ultimately you can find out one small spherical structure is produced, which is called morula. Morula is having 8 to 16 cells. These cells are called blastomere. What is morula? Morula is the structure which is having 8 to 16 cells, and each cell is called blastomere. Okay? So then you can find out then there is a periclinal division is taking place. Periclinal means the division will separate into different layers. So you can find out there is formation of one outer layer, one inner layer. The outer layer is called trophoblast, and trophoblast gets attached to endometrium, because by the time the cleavage starts, the zygote starts moving towards uterus. Fertilization is taking place in the oviduct. Then when the mitosis starts, then gradually you can find out fertilized zygote starts moving towards uterus. What is the inner wall of the uterus? The inner wall of the uterus, so that is endometrium. Okay? So this trophoblast gets attached to endometrium, because the uterus is having three layers, and the innermost layer, so that is called endometrium. So ultimately you can find out this morula, which is having 8 to 16 cells, it is attached to the endometrium of the uterus. So the trophoblast that is connected to the endometrium, and from the inner cell mass actually the embryo is developing. The baby who is developing from the embryo, so all the development, all the different organs and the parts, they are actually developing from the cells which are present in inner cell mass. Whereas the outermost layer, which is called trophoblast, so that is connected to endometrium of the uterus. Then you can find out the wall of the uterus will start surrounding the embryo, and now the embryo it gets implanted on the wall of the uterus, and the process is called